All right, back to recap the last game real quick. As far as internally with our awards we gave out, players of the game, defense, we didn't recognize anyone after that game. Offensively, we had three guys we thought played really strong. Dan Feeney, still knocking some rust off after being injured and missing all of last year, but a third-year player, played really good inside, was very, very nice job, and good to see him getting back. Shane Wynn was very productive without the ball, let alone with, and thought Nate played very, very well, distributing the ball, managing the game, did really good there. Special teams had some good play in some areas, but no one particularly that impact. We didn't have a positive impact in special teams, so we didn't recognize a special team player of the game. Behind the scenes, offensive scouts, Tim Gardner, a guy with redshirting, transferring in here from up in India, is doing great as an offensive lineman. And Danny Dunn, young man, second-year player at Carmel. On the offensive side and defensive scouts, good to see Jordan Heiderman. It's a senior. He did well for us, always has. He's a backup. He travels, but he plays on our scout look a little bit as a senior. Did well. And a young freshman, walk-on by the name of Kenny Arnold at linebacker at Detroit. So those guys did well. Other guys we thought with some solid performances in the game on offense. Again, the receivers are all solid. Nick Stoner was much better than week one, and Jay Sean Harris was very consistent, very good with the ball as a young player, did really well. So we thought those guys played well. Defensively, even though we didn't have a player of the game, we thought Nick Mangieri played very hard, had a pick. Offensively, we didn't take advantage of that pick, but played well, some good pressure, played relentless. T. Gray Scales, a young linebacker, we thought played very well as a young guy, and Mark Murphy in the back end. So we thought we had three guys on defense, play like we needed to, and 5 on O. In the kicking, particularly in kickoff cover, Kenny Mullen was outstanding, and T.J. Simmons, and T.J. managed a couple of pop kicks into the win the other day. So those are guys we talked about. Back on that game real quick, in general, team accountability for all of us for the loss, if our play up there, and again, I'm not sliding Bowling Green by any means. Our opponent played well. We thought they would. Expected them to, expected us to play well. Our effort was solid. I think physically we can still be a lot cleaner just in blocking and tackling and continue to grow there. But more importantly, just our mindset, our mental prep, our mental errors need to decrease as we move forward. Our sport is not a game of perfect, so we're not going to play a perfect game by any means, but we had too many errors. And you always see one at the end of the game and you see a mistake, but there's many games are going to be one-possession games, or have a chance to be if you play well. When you're playing most weeks, if you show up and play well and the other team shows up and plays well, a lot of times you're going to be in close games. So you're going to get down to some plays and ebb and flow, and you always remember the last-minute drive or a fourth-quarter play that gets you. But there's a lot of plays across the board. So in our world, again, as coaches, we're accountable for that, and players were responsible to get it fixed as we move forward. We had 11 penalties. First week we had 4. We went from one of the fewest penalized teams in the country to high end in 1 week. A lot of those were 15-yard penalties with some pass interference. We had a couple unsportsmanlike late hits. So some things we need to clean up. Not a lot of pre-snap negative plays. And I will say, if you look at pull up last year's stats and look at the most penalized teams, you'll see teams that were playing in BCS bowls. Aggressive teams are going to make some penalties. If you're going to challenge in coverage, you're going to get some PIs. We got to play the ball better. If you tell a lineman not to hold, he's not going to block after a while. And if you tell a defensive lineman not to jump offside, he's not going to jump the ball. So, I mean, you better be careful what you're asking for. So you're going to have some penalties. We do need to minimize that. 11 is way too many, and I think a little bit uncharacteristic of us. We'll need to clean it up on the road. We had 1 turnover as an offense. It was a critical one in the scoring zone. We gave up no sacks. It's not bad on the road. Love to get that turnover out of there. We created 2. We only had 1 sack. That wasn't enough for 73 passes, although a lot of their passes, like our passes, are the balls out of the hand, so you got to get your hands up, maybe deflect some balls, and maybe have pass disruptions more than sacks. But we got to be more aggressive in our rush attack for sure. Our 1 fumble took points off the board, and they actually scored after that one, so we lose points. They gained 7. In the 2 turnovers we created, we scored a touchdown, and then we gave it up on downs after Mangieri's pick. In the kicking game, we missed a field goal. Our kickoff coverage was really good. We had no returns in the punt game for either side with the win. Kickoff return, we had a critical error. We brought one out, had a penalty, started to drive on the 3-yard line. with the 2 short punts we had into the win, with the kickoff return mistake and the missed field goal we have, that's 4 field goal opportunities. They kicked 3 and we missed 1. Defensively, again, our opponent played well. We got worked. A little too passive. We need to be more aggressive as coaches and players. We said that before, during, and after the game. We need to see it instead of talk about it. Like our guys, like the way we do some things, but we need to see it in games. No one cares if you practice. Well, I've seen it consistently, and our players will take consistently in practice against a pretty solid offense. They've done very, very well. But we got to transfer from the practice field and walk the last 2x4, the finest walk, and get on the game field where the stakes are a little bit higher. So there's talent there. The habits are there in practice, but we need game habits. We need performances and good habits during games, and we haven't transferred that like you need to. And we'll keep doing what we're doing until we'll keep getting the results we're getting until we do that, to me. Because, again, I think we're doing a lot of things right, but doing it right does not ensure victory. You got to do it when the bullets are flying, when the game's on the line, and we've got to do that. Offensively, we got to keep pushing for more productivity. We're doing a lot of good things, but our 3rd and 4th downs, although we're 50-some% in 3rd downs, we're only 4 of 12 Saturday on the road. That needs to be higher. We're 1 of 6 on 4 downs for the year. And when you're moving the ball at 500-plus yards a game, one of the reasons you go for it on 4th downs, you got a pretty good offense. So we got to call plays better and execute them better. Even though we're moving the ball pretty good, we're leaving points on the board. Our score zone opportunities and crossing the 50-yard line. We have a lot of drives that are reasonable drives, but we don't get any points to show for that. So we're leaving some points. So we need the offense to keep pushing. We need the defense to show up and play like it's capable. And then moving on to Missouri, again, looking forward to what's going to be a great challenge for us. Very strong team, very solid program. Tremendous leader in Coach Pinkel, winning as coach, 2 schools. A lot of respect for him. And really because of having competed against him, I really know their coaches because we've competed against them, recruited against him. He's got outstanding staff, great coaches. A lot of guys have been with him forever. A lot of guys I know and think the world of as coaches and as guys. And they got a great staff. They're solid in all 3 phases. Their offense, really good running game, 2 good running backs. Quarterback, very athletic and active, moving around, spread it out. And they're very productive in the pass game. I think they've got 12 touchdown passes and 3 picks. So really balanced on offense, really good line. A couple linemen that I recruited years ago that are very, very good players for them. Defensively, very aggressive up front. 2 really good defensive ends, 2 of the better players in the country. Defensively, playing about as good as most people in the country as far as turnovers they cause and the way they play and the way they play at D and what they do schematically with Coach Steck on his guys. And then they put it together with good kicking, good returner, solid kickers, good in all 3 phases. That's why they're 18th in the country. That's why they're 3-0. That's why they're defending East champions of the SEC, and we're going down to their place. We will need and expect our best day, our best week this week. We expect that every day, and I expect our guys to bounce back and have great attitudes, great work, and it's going to be a great challenge and a great opportunity. And we'll look forward to having a good day and a good week and progressing forward. Questions?
Last game, Coach, you talked about some people needing to be better teammates. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
I just think, when you're playing, shoot, it was always the issue a year ago with quarterbacks, and you're going to play, and we need all you to play to win, but everybody who's in and all that deal. You're starting to play now some young freshmen with seniors, and the guy wants to be out there all the time. I mean, shoot, there were guys that played, 100 snaps. We had guys that split play had more snaps than they had in the first game because there was 57 or 59 snaps in the first game. So I just want to see some guys not be worried about who's in, but get out there and with your body language and your attitude, just have, there's nothing negative, no talking. It's just there's a look in a guy's eye that says I'm excited about what's going on. And to me, we've all got roles. I share with the team my role. I was a backup offensive lineman. And the starting center got hurt at Wake Forest, played 7. I played 77 snaps. We won 24-17. Nose guard was number 54. Very active player. Remember to this day. Rated 78% if you want to know the truth. Not that I remember. All right. On Sunday, we took a starting defensive tackle and moved him to center because 4 weeks down the road was William the Refrigerator Perry, and could Wilson block that guy? That guy was a 3rd-round draft pick. But that was my role. I love my role. That was my role. I would take my role today. And that's what we're talking to our guys about. Embrace your role, understand your role, because what we need for this thing to really take off, we've got a lot of good guys, a lot of things in place. We've worked hard. It's been an awesome commitment. Embrace your role, do your job, and let's move in a positive way. And I just wanted to address that because I saw some things. It wasn't negative. It's just like, hey, man, this is a great game. Expect it to be one. We're right here. Let's go play. And I just thought we're just a little sulky. We didn't need that right then. We needed our mind on our job, what we could control. We could control the next time you play. Let's go out and make some plays. And it just wasn't negative. It just wasn't. I expected more because it's a great group of seniors, and I expect them to lead us the right way this year, and they're going to.
What, if anything, can the coaches do to kind of fix that mindset, that belief that we're going to get it done, we're going to make this stop? Is there anything you guys can do, or is it just a matter of the players just finally getting it done on the field?
Well, to me, we've gotten to where we've been, okay and fair and solid on offense. And they've done that consistently. No sugarcoating, consistently against the offense all through spring, all through preseason. They need to transfer the hardest thing, which is take it to the ring when everyone's watching. And the old analogy, like, when I have 5 children, and when everyone came to the hospital, they didn't want to see your wife. They didn't care about her labor and how hard she worked. They wanted to see the baby. Everybody's coming to the game. They want to see that you play. They don't care about how hard you worked. They want to see you show up and play. So it's nice you worked hard. That don't matter. You got to bring it to the game day, and you got to show up and show them their stuff. And to me, because again we've got competition depth, and we're going against good players, we ought to feel we do it. But that's and I can't do that walk for them. I can't. I told them that day if I could blitz, I would blitz from the sideline, but I can't do it. If I could do anything, if we call them Buck, if we could do anything, if you could say do some things again, we'd all go back as coach. You'd want to play. Can't. They've got to play. It's like being a parent. You got to trust them, let it go. You got to believe in them. That's what we're telling them. That's what we believe. That's what we see. And that's why we're not changing things in practice the way we're doing things. We've evolved to the point yesterday we had our normal Sunday. We made positive corrections on what we saw, things we could fix, and we moved on to Missouri. And that's what we're going to do. And we're going to do it this week, and we're going to have our great week and progress the way we can, and we'll see where that stacks up, and then we're going to do it again. And we're going to keep repeating that process because we got a good group, and they're ready for success, but we got to go do it. They're not going to give it to us.
What do you need to do with the kicking game, particularly the field goal kicking? I'm sure you've obviously been working to address that, but what can be done to get that where it needs to be?
Well, I think, for example, let me see here. I wrote because I knew you were going to ask me on that. So I got it here. All right, so for example, in the punting game, we've had 5 punts. 3 of those have been sky opportunities, one down on the 5, one down on the 15, and one we didn't quite get the other day. The other 2 we kicked into the wind. And with that kicking average, our punter averaged 3 more yards a kick than Bowling Green's punter. So into the wind. I don't know if you noticed, but every time you kicked off the other day, we had a guy put a hand on the ball. In our first 2 games, we gave our punter player of game for downing 2 punts inside the 20, 1 inside the 5, led to points. So we believe in our punter. He's rock solid. You can take those numbers and skew them for all you want. We could take those numbers from game. We hadn't had a lot of opportunities, and we've been asked to call. He had a 43-yarder with the wind that we're skying that landed on the 5, and we couldn't quite get to it. Or he had 3 down inside the 22, down inside the 5. He had 1 poor drop into the wind. And when he dropped it nose down. He missed hit a 10-yard punting. Kicking-wise, we've kicked 2 field goals. Now, before the game, we always, every time, it's their job to let us know. We talked all week, played at Bowling Green. I think that's my 6th time having been to that stadium. It's always a wind tunnel. So we talked all week. We actually had some good practice days with a little bit of breeze out here. Hey, this is the wind. It's going to come out of the north. It's coming out of the north. It's blowing its way. You're going to get a feel of what you can do because that affects how we kick off. Remember, Bowling Green sky kicked every time to us when they kicked off because of the way the wind was blowing to the open side. So in the kicking game, our kicker told me before the game, inside a 40-yard field goal going that way. So we tried one from 21 that we missed. We didn't try one from 22 and 25. He said from the 23. It was 4th and 1, 3rd and 1. So he kind of gave me his magic numbers. And the one he missed was a heck of a kick, just like the one he kicked the other day. He hit it solid. He pushed it right by a yard, foot. It wasn't a miss hit. It wasn't a shank. He just got a little out in front, left it hanging out to the right. Hit it solid. It was a solid hit, solid kick. Told him when he kicked it. Now, his last 5 kickoffs were 3 of them into the wind. They averaged 12.4 yards a return. They started on the 18-yard line. The last 2 PATs he's got to make to give us a 3-point lead, or if he's that bad a kicker in a windy field position, we have a 2-point lead. We can lose the game with a field goal. So his last 7, 8 kicks were all critical. He kicked the last one, 2 minutes left in the game. He kicked it to the 1 yard line, 3 yards from the corner, pinned him in, and we tackled him on the 12-yard line. So we've got a good kicker. He's 0 for 2 on field goals. I think we got a pretty good punter. We just got a couple sky kicks. Now, we don't have a great guy, but I believe in those guys. They're not bad. But they got to do their job better, and they will. They will. They're human. I just think young in his career, good young kicker. Got to keep kicking. There's a duck hook in here. We can all pull him out. There's a 3-putt, yep. But, man, he's really good. And he'll be fine. He better be fine.
Do you have anybody that works on technique with the punters and the kickers?
Oh, to some degree. I mean, we film it all in close-up stuff and watch themselves. But, again, as a kicking, it's got to be internally. You're not allowed to have, quote, outside where we can bring in a kicking guru coach, and they do stuff on their own. Kicking, much as anything, though, is mental. I mean, our kicker's got a guy he's worked with as our punter, and they've been very, very good. Again, they're going to miss some kicks. I mean, the thing you assume, and it's one of the things why we do what we do, you assume a guy's going to make every kick. Well, they don't. And when you got a pretty good offense, that's sometimes why you go for it on 4th down, And, and so that's just kind of the way it is, what I mean? So, they're human. At the same time, they're pretty good. One guy hadn't played as much. The other guy has. It's a good group, and they'll do well. And I'm not discouraged. I mean, like I say, statistically, our kickers were better than their kickers the other day statistically, except their guy made a 28-yarder into the win. He made a 28-yarder into the win, and he kicked 3 with the win. And we might have should have kicked the 50-yarder, but early in the game, and we put in our guy to do a little bit of running with our run deal, and that guy's going to be a fine quarterback, and we can talk about that blue in the face, and maybe we shouldn't put in. We did. We thought that's the best thing to do. We live with that decision. Go on. We'll keep doing it, too, because he's going to be a great player. Promise you that, too. And he can throw. He ain't a runner. If we want a runner, we put Tevin back there and fake it to D-Lo. I mean, he has a cannon. He's going to be a great quarterback.
4th down when you have an NFL caliber running back.
Yeah, because they can load the box and just outnumber you. So to have the advantage to get the run game, and the first play just got called backwards where the line's blocking left and the play's going right, and we leave 2 guys unblocked because the play just got communicated backwards. The last one they came up, we're going to do something. They brought their zero. All we didn't do is handle blitz good the other day, which we've started working on. We had previously, but we didn't handle blitz. We know we'll get it this week and weeks to come. So we're working hard. They brought in all that blitz. We checked to a zone sweep play that we just got our butt kicked up front, and they won the line of scrimmage. So and the next time we left Nate in against cover 0, we didn't pass block, and he threw it in the stands. So that's what happened the next time when Nate was in against cover 0. So that was your answer there. Not a good plan by us as coaches.
I feel like the secondary got exploited a little bit on Saturday, or
well, if you give them all day to throw, you know what I'm saying, and you don't get pressure on the quarterback, and of course a lot of that's their style and what they do with their gap protections and tempo and ball out in the perimeter, and they get you tired. But I thought I don't think we played enough guys. I was concerned that some guys having some frowns. Other guys, I thought we had some guys play 100 snaps. It's too many. We can make some 3rd down stops. We can get off the field. We had our hands off balls. We needed picks and some turnovers, Terry, we didn't get. But at the end of the day, our team got exposed if we don't play aggressive. And we've talked about that, and I'd like to see, and I expect to see us be, as coaches and players, a lot more aggressive and get out of the way and let these kids go play more.
We may see something on film about your defense that wasn't immediately apparent, right after the game.
Their D?
Your D.
No. I mean, more than anything, just, again, we were too cautious, sit back. And again, you can rush 3 guys and be aggressive. But, again, we got tired. We didn't get pressure. We got worked and had opportunities, to make some stops and didn't. I think after Tevin's turnover, it's 3rd and 6, and we got a chance to make a tackle, make it 4th and 8. We miss, and the quarterback falls forward and on a quarterback draw or a scramble run, whatever it was, and they move the chains on down. So we had opportunities. But, again, as still with where we are, okay, and making the change and where we are with some veterans, but really a lot of sophomores and redshirt freshmen, we got to keep growing and progressing that deep. There's going to be some bumps in the road. They will play, but they'll get a tremendous challenge this week. Much different animal as far as speed, players, all that deal. So they're going to have a completely different challenge this week with Missouri. But at the same time, there'll be some growing pains, but they just need to keep growing. I didn't like that. I thought we got a little bit what I'd seen previously. I didn't like we got on our heels. We need to be aggressive. We need to go. I kept saying offense, keep coming at them. And that doesn't mean throw it. Just keep staying aggressive and assertive in what you're doing. Our opponent this week will be very assertive. We need to be assertive in all phases, and we weren't Saturday as coaches, and that led into the play of our players.
The mistakes you had defensively are getting a lot of attention, but the mistakes offensively from veterans, whether it be Shane, stepping out of bounds, Tevin fumbling, just how important is it to clean up those things late in drives, late in games when you have a chance to put it away?
But again, early in games, because you're going to be in one-possession game, so you see one at the end. Again, Shane was tight rope, and I thought his error in the kick game was made more critical. He was just running fast and trying, and as he went away, it was a tight rope he lost. Tevin's running his tail off, but he had the ball out twice, and that's why as well as he played, those are plays that haunt you. And love him, but he's got to take care of the ball. And so, our game is not perfect. We got to minimize mistakes. They're always going to be there. We got to minimize them. We had way too many Saturday.
It seems like throughout the summer that a lot of the talk was about the defense coming out more aggressive this season. Why was it in the second game that you guys just weren't able to follow?
Well, again, you can visit with Coach Nor and his guys, but in general, when you don't get the stops and you get that, you get tired. You know what I mean? Because again, you can get a stop. You can get them on schedule. With their tempo stuff, I think just getting lined up, and we practiced a lot against it. We said we were good, but I think as we got going, we just got a little too sit and duck to me. And to me as coaches, that's concerning. And because I think you have to you don't coach so much your guys are confused, but you also have to coach enough that they know what they can do and be aggressive. You got to give them a couple different looks, but you got to have them on their toes, teeing off on guys, and we got a little bit on our heels.
What's the injury update?
Nothing.
Corsaro?
Close. He's doing some stuff, so we'll see. I thought he practiced a little last week. It's just how much they let him go, and it's just he's got a stress fracture, like in the bottom of his at the big toe area of his foot. So he's close. He was practicing great in 2 days, and it started showing up, and he thought it could be a potential break, so they're shutting him down to try to quieten it down. But everybody, we came out of that game health-wise very, very good. And I'll say something too. Again, even though we got some things, the best play, and if you get a chance to look at it, you need to watch Bobby Richardson play the PAT field goal after they scored. Because if we'd have played like that the whole game, I don't think we'd have played 113 snaps. So that's why, again, I know we got a great group of guys. There's no quit in them. We got to pull it out. And that's our job as leaders. It's not telling them what to do, but it's putting them in the right places and getting them to do it. And we'll get a great challenge this week. We expect them to play a lot better.
You said you want to see guys to see more aggression on defense. As a head coach, is that from a scheme standpoint? Do you talk to Brian and say,
all phases, players as well. I think, again, you get here in practice, and if you've played or Buck knows what I'm talking about, it's, practice, you get beat, it's just practice, like Mr. Iverson says one day. But in games, the odds are greater than you know it, so all of a sudden the worry gets in the way. Instead of just, hey, it's the same walk, it's the same 2x4, trust it, let's walk it, let's roll. It's the hardest walk to walk, and to me, we're at that cusp of that's the one thing that needs to happen. We need to trust everything we've done. We're well prepared. We've worked hard. We've got good players. Let's do what we're doing. Let's go play. And like I say, we'll make some corrections here in all phases, and we'll keep moving. And we're never going to have it figured out. You never do. You're always evolving. You're always going. Every week's different. Every team's different. Every year's different. Every year's evolving. And we got to keep evolving this team because this team has a chance to be a really strong team.
Do you get on your headset and tell the coaches, hey, let's be more aggressive, or do you just let them do what they do?
For the most part, no. What I try to watch the offense, and here, so I'm looking for here's what's coming on me. I'm watching their offense because, again, I don't spend time in their meeting room. We have 5 coaches over there, and I'm one of the 5, so we'll meet collectively. Here's our practice. Here's our thoughts. They manage that. We work together all in kicking. We're all involved in kicking. Our kicking is a total group deal. We have lead coaches for each team, and I kind of oversee it all, and then I spend the rest of the time on offense. So I'm making offensive suggestions when I'm watching them. I just kept saying you're sitting back a little too much, but, again, they know their game plan, their prep work, their guys, not me. Moving forward, we'll keep moving forward this week. We'll have to be a lot better. Both. There's some skills you can learn and strength and development you need. But some guys can do it, some guys can't. Some guys have bodies that can and can't. There's speed that you need. There's some leverage and power you need. There's different types. There's some guys that are 5'11" that are great pass rushers. Other guys are huge monsters. So everybody's different. So what song was that? That was a good one. You learn a lot about guys by their songs on their deal. What'd you have there? So anyway. You know, but again, and you don't have to blitzing's not the answer. Blitzing's not being more aggressive. You know, throwing the ball deep is not more aggressive as an offense. But there's a way you need to attack, and for us to be a good team, as coaches, myself, as players, we need to attack. You know, I've done that consistently from the offensive side. We've been trying to do it defensively, and we need to keep doing it this week. We need to keep doing it in the kicking game.